Welcome to Aztec. This tutorial will get you started in PointID, the most widely used part of the system. Let's begin by adding project notes that can be copied text or images, and we can do the same for specimen notes. And we'll also say that the specimen's been coated with carbon to remove it from the quantitative analysis. Moving to the right, we'll see the mini view shows us at the moment the rate meter, which has input-output count rates and dead time, and also tells us the recommended working distance for this microscope. At the bottom of the screen, we're constantly monitoring the microscope operating conditions, and it's a good idea to check that that matches what you see on the microscope. Moving to the bottom right next, we'll see that we have step notes. That's help which is default with the system, but you can also edit the step notes so that you can make standard operating procedures for your lab. Moving to the top, we'll see the data view, and that's where we'll build all the data that we're acquiring. So let's move to the next step in the navigator across the top, which is to scan the image. We've got now a cog for settings, and we see that on lots of the parts of the user interface. So here on this microscope, we're able to acquire secondary and backscatter images simultaneously. So when we press the Start button to acquire the image, those two images are both acquired. And we'll see in the current site the two images appearing in the data view. We've got tools for pan and zoom. You simply zoom with the mouse wheel and we can add text to those images. So let's go to the next step in the navigator, acquiring spectra. Now we just choose from the tools which will enable us to acquire from spots or rectangles or regions. So we'll start with a rectangle, then we'll do an ellipse. And you can choose whether you do them on the secondary or backscatter image, it doesn't matter. And the final tool is a freehand draw, so you just click and drag and it opens up a bit like a rubber band. And these spectra are queued in the acquisition. We can see that spectrum 1's acquiring and now spectrum 2. So you can stop any of them or stop all of them. You can use usual Windows Control or Shift keys. And we can also view one spectrum in the spectrum window while we're acquiring another. So now we're acquiring spectrum 3. All the peaks are automatically identified and labelled. On the right of the spectrum is mini quant, and based on auto peak IDs, that's giving us a bar chart view or a percentage view of the quant for that spectrum. So let's add some text to the spectrum. Just click on the text tool and to create an arrow, draw towards the peak, just click and drag, and then you can type in the text at the end of the arrow. We can change that colour, we can do that in some settings. We'll see that in a moment. Now, just to finish off this analysis, we can just right mouse click in a spectrum window, export, and do the usual copy and print and so on. If you have an email client, you can directly email. Settings allow us to choose the colours of the text and the shape of the spectrum, and we can also choose for it to be in monochrome if we prefer to print. And you can save those settings if you want, and just go on and print. So here we're just prompted to save the results there. And there's an export and copy. So just the final thing we need to do now is just go to File and to save the project.